What day is it today, Bob?
Oh my god, I didn't look at it. Again. It's day 19.
Oh yes.
It's day 19. Dummy.
Yeah.
So I always go down and check the log before we do these vlogs, and I always say to myself, I must just check what day it is, and I always forget to check what day it is anyhow. So I can tell you what day it is. It's been our slowest day so far, actually by quite a bound. We did 62 nautical miles on the GPS log, but sadly we were knocked back a little bit, and we've only actually done 52 over the ground towards Horta, towards our target. So it's pretty disappointing. The reasons for that, I mean, there's a couple of reasons for it. One is we're lousy sailors. Actually, that's not a reason at all. We're very good sailors. I have an ocean yacht master, I'll have you know. It's mainly to do with Hurricane Gordon, which this time yesterday, 24 hours ago, was 300 miles to our south, and it's now way off to our east, a little bit of south in it, way off to our east. It didn't track due east, it came to some degree north, and that had an effect upon the winds that we have. So whereas we'd hoped that the winds would go round to the northeast by now, they're still actually very much in the east. Consequently, we're meant to be sailing about 090 degrees, and the very best we can do is about 045. And that's pushing things for this yacht. She doesn't go very well to windward unless there's a lot of wind. So consequently, our progress towards Horta itself, over the last 6 hours, we've made about 6 miles towards Horta. And that's pretty disappointing. We've gone a lot further than that over the ground, of course, and we're actually headed off towards the northeast. So we're not quite sure what the winds are going to do. They are forecast to perhaps come round a little bit to the northeast, which means we could tack and make a more direct line towards Horta, or it means, or they may then go back again. So there's another low pressure over there exerting itself, evidently, off to our west and our north. So bottom line is we may actually tack and find ourselves a little bit later on completely headed again. So how about using fuel? We've still got some left on board, and we actually went so far as to dip the tank today. Our fuel gauge isn't reliable, so we took the lid off the tank and dipped it. And the truth is that we've used about 70% of the fuel, which marries up absolutely with the fact that we've motored for 70 hours so far. It's a 100-gallon tank, so we're consuming it at the rate of 1 gallon per hour of motoring at 1800 revs, 50 horsepower engine, Perkins Prima M50. So we consume at the rate of 1 gallon an hour about 2/3 of her rev capacity, and that kicks us along at about 5 knots, which is fine by us. If we went up towards our maximum revs, we would double fuel consumption. We'd be doing about 2 gallons an hour, and we'd only get about an extra knot of speed. So it's a good economical thing for us. But that means we've got about 30 hours of motoring left. So if you figure that, if we do 5 knots, 30 hours, it's about 150 nautical miles that we could do, but we would be right down to the dregs on the engine. We wouldn't wish to do that. So probably realistically we've got about 24 hours left, which is about 120 miles. As we stand at the moment, the closest point at the Azores, about 130 miles distant, is the island of Flores. I think that's how you pronounce it. We will continue the way we're going, see what the wind does, and tomorrow morning we will do a wind check. And if it is absolutely contrary to us, by that time we will be about 120 miles from Flores. We will probably turn on the engine and change our plans, and instead of going to Horta, we will go to Flores initially and enter the Azores at the port that's on the island of Flores. So I've got to do a bit of research on that, go down below, do some reading. But that's our plan, and that's how ocean passage making can change. Good old Hurricane Gordon, bless him. I did a little thing, I've got a little thing here, I worked it out. 70% fuel used, 30% remaining. We kick along about 5 knots, so we've actually motored about 350 miles. That means, given the distance that we've covered, we've actually sailed somewhere between 1,400 and 1,500 miles. So it just goes to show you can use up all of that fuel and still only make a very low proportion of your overall distance towards your destination. It may be frustrating that you're only doing a few knots, 2.5 knots at some point sometimes, but the fact is that you're doing it day after day, day after day, day after day, and you do make progress towards where it is you're going to. So we've sailed about 14 or 1500 miles, motored about 350, and we're either going to sail the rest of it or motor another 120, something like that, and that will bring us up to just over 2,000 miles altogether. So there you go. What else has the day been about? Well, water. We are consuming our water. We're not into our reserves yet. We're still on our main tank, which is great. We didn't collect any more. We did speak about our proprietary, unique system of water catchment. We're catching it off this cover here, just above our heads. Just drips off the corners, right and left at the back. Now you can put a saucepan under there, and it will narrowly gather a cupful, half a pint, or whatever, in a bit of a downpour, maybe more. But we notice it comes off the mainsail, almost like a tap. So we did collect some in jugs, and we managed to do about 5 gallons altogether at one stage. So we thought, well, instead of standing there like a lemon in the rain, maybe we could rig up a system. So we invented this great thing. This is one of our spare 1 gallon bottles of water that we have. Almost 1 gallon, about 3/4 of a gallon. We've got about 20 of these on board, 18 or 20 of them. We've used one of them, so we figured we'd rig that up, put some gaffer tape or masking tape around the top of it to strengthen it, a couple of ties, and tie it around the boom, tie it wherever is precipitating the most, whatever's collecting the most rainwater. And then in the bottom of it, we've rigged up our only piece of spare hose on board into the original cap, gaffer taped on there. So that can go on there. We're going to patent this, and then we're going to market it at the London Boat Show, if the thing still exists, or the Southampton Boat Show, whatever. So there you go, that, around whatever it is, catching water, trickling down here. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And either into a jerry can, which clearly has to be a lot lower than that, so probably a jerry can in the cockpit, or hopefully directly in through the filler cap in the deck. And we could leave that there as long as it downpours. You just let it rain for 5 or 10 minutes to wash off the sails, get the salt out of the sails, and then take it straight into the tank. So there you go. This will be available on our website. Well, that costs about $3. The tubing costs about $10, I guess. So we'll be marketing these at about $140. So that was our proprietary system, and you can do any variation on that, I guess, and I think with a bit more thought we could put something on the coach roof here, maybe to come off the end and into a catchment, something that goes into a jerry can or whatever. So what else has the day been about? Well, it's not been about much else. It's been about fishing. I have a line in here and a lure and etc., and we did catch one very nice fish, and I chucked it over the side. And the fact is, we're in colder waters now. The air temperature is a little bit colder as well, even though I'm back to a t-shirt at the moment. It's actually been quite chilly during the day. And we threw it over the stern, pulled it in 3 times, and we had 3 lots of absolutely no fish at all. Which shows, first time is just luck. We're actually lousy fishermen. No doubt we'll give it a go again at a later stage.
Yeah, when I open another tin of salmon.
When Nikki opens another tin of salmon. Perfect, because last time we chucked some salmon over the side and the fish came swarming. They thought, yes, we're cannibals, yoo-hoo! So we were feeling a bit miserable an hour ago, thinking we're making no progress at all, really, towards our destination. Maybe we're going to be stuck out here for another 4 or 5 days, when actually, if the wind just changed, we'd be there in 48 hours. And then along came a pod of dolphins, probably about a dozen of them, and they did a bunch of yeehaw around the bow, and then they disappeared, and then they came back, and there were a few more of them, and suddenly they took off at speed, and probably all of them came out of the water at the same time with such a burst of speed and energy. It was extraordinary. And they were accompanied by 3 very large seabirds, and we don't know what they are. We'll have to have a look in a book, and shearwaters or something. I don't know what they are. Not gulls, much bigger than that. And those things were following them around, obviously in the hope of catching a little bit of their fish that the dolphins are scaring out of the water. But it was spectacular. We went in an instant from being miserable grouches to bright-eyed and beautiful and bushy-tailed. So we really made our day. And that's ocean cruising for you. What tomorrow will bring, we don't know. we'll be back into trying to figure it out. Next time we speak to you, we might be going towards our new destination on the island of Flores. Who knows? Tune in tomorrow and you'll find out. See you later.